Imagine stepping off your front porch and suddenly swimming upward because the atmosphere is now thick as ocean water. Every single breath feels incredibly heavy, but completely breathable while you float 40 feet above your own front lawn.
Look closely because gravity still works perfectly fine, but air density just skyrocketed to match a backyard swimming pool.
Mowing your lawn requires special heavy boots because blades of grass magically float upward into the dense atmospheric soup.
Hitting the gym becomes hilarious when you easily press 500 pounds, since the iron is now completely buoyant. Taking a morning shower means jumping inside a massive floating sphere of warm water hovering directly over your bathtub.
Traditional birds are completely grounded, while local squirrels easily swim between oak trees like tiny, furry little river otters.
Entire cities transform into towering vertical swimming pools, where everyone gracefully paddles hundreds of feet above the hard concrete sidewalks.
Traditional airplanes are completely useless right now, unless they swap jet engines for massive boat propellers on the wings.
Raindrops do not fall anymore because they just hover in place like tiny floating mirrors suspended across the neighborhood.
A standard parachute works entirely in reverse, as people use them to anchor themselves safely onto the grassy ground.
Professional basketball becomes a bizarre underwater ballet, where players leap 30 feet high and gracefully glide toward the hoop.
Cooking dinner requires special sealed pots because boiling water just forms giant floating bubbles right inside your home kitchen.
Umbrellas are no longer for blocking rain, but instead act as giant sails to pull you down the sidewalk.
Forget about sweeping the floor because dust bunnies are permanently suspended 5 inches high across the entire living room. Delivery drivers abandon their trucks entirely and paddle specially modified floating bicycles to bring hot pizza to your balcony.
Massive cargo ships actually begin flying through the sky, since the thick atmosphere perfectly supports their incredibly heavy hulls.
Windstorms feel exactly like powerful ocean currents sweeping our entire neighborhoods into a beautiful synchronized sway of slow movement.
Speaking to your friends requires shouting loudly because sound waves travel incredibly fast through this super dense atmospheric soup.
Dropping your cell phone is no longer a disaster, since it gently floats downward like a feather in honey.
Every skyscraper essentially transforms into a massive coral reef, where people just swim directly into their 20th floor windows.
This bizarre reality means humanity completely redesigns every single city to function purely on three-dimensional floating travel paths. We would ultimately evolve into sky swimmers, navigating a brilliantly transformed world filled with floating architecture and gentle currents.
Could you actually survive a daily commute paddling through the clouds while wearing a fancy suit and dress shoes? Hit that subscribe button right now if you want to explore more wild scenarios that completely twist our reality.